Right. I cannot believe that I'm recording this video. I genuinely cannot believe that I'm finally telling you about this library, that you finally can see it, that I can sit here. It's just unbelievable, because I have to be honest, this feels like a dream. I'm surrounded by books, by my books. There are bookshelves on my left, on my right, on my front, on each side, and of course behind me, the ones that you see. And this is all in a separate room, and I just feel as if at any moment somebody is going to pinch me and I'm going to wake up from this wonderful dream. And this is how I felt over the past couple of weeks, ever since I sorted out my books. I will tell you more about my new library, because this is the beginning of a new era in my life, a new era for this channel. But there is one thing that I really want to tell you about, and I think you really need to know about this, and we need to discuss this. And this thing is that I want to begin telling this is that there is a door right here, the entrance to this library. Imagine somebody just breaks in right now, opens the door, runs and picks up one of those books and takes it and runs away, or takes it and starts editing certain passages, deleting certain passages. What would you do if you were in my space, in my place? What would you do? I think you would, first of all, tackle this person. You would definitely call police. You would at least be completely in shock and wonder what the hell is happening. This is something that we believe is unacceptable, and it's considered a crime. But the similar thing can happen to our ebooks, to the ebooks that we own on our devices, such as Kindle. Let me explain. I think earlier this year I published an essay on my newsletter, which was called "Why Dictators Love eBooks." I wrote that essay because I was really concerned about what I was witnessing in Russia. Ever since the full-scale invasion of Ukraine that started in 2022, Russian politics became even more censorious than before. Certain political figures and certain figures from entertainment became unfavorable. And of course, books were targeted as well. And in that essay, I told you about how one of the biggest platforms of ebooks in Russia started removing certain books by authors that were considered not favorable and not politically correct. One of them was Boris Akunin, who started out as a fiction writer, and now he writes books on history, on Russian history. His books, along with many other authors, started to be removed from bookstores, then libraries, and then ebook stores. What was really interesting, that one of the biggest ebook stores that is called Litres, they said that they removed books by Akunin, but they're going to keep his books on the devices of users who've already bought it. And I thought that this is very concerning, that they are essentially saying, we are kind enough to leave the book that you've already purchased, that you already own, on the device that you have, that you also bought. This means that if they wanted to, they could remove that book that you already have without even notifying you. That's why I asked you, what would you do if somebody walks into this library, from the door there, grabs a book from one of those shelves? What would you do? You would consider it to be a theft. You might think like, yes, this is a big danger, but what is even more scary personally to me is that what if they don't remove books? What if somebody comes into this room when it's dark, when I'm not here, when I don't see, and they pick a book and they start to edit certain passages without me seeing it? They would rip out a page from a book, and I would never notice that this book was edited. This thing could happen to ebooks. After all, you don't know what passages are missing from a book that you haven't read. And people who have read the books, let's say, such as Alexander Solzhenitsyn's The Gulag Archipelago, how many people will notice a passage or two missing from a book that is 600 pages long? Not many people. Even if people notice, it won't be enough people to cause a revolution or any kind of discontent or scandal. But this is what e-books and e-readers and corporations who sell those kind of digital material can easily do. And people in the West think that these kind of things can happen in the lands far, far away. Lands such as Russia, China, countries in Middle East might do this, but not in the West. But we know that it already happens in the West. We know about cases when Amazon decided to remove 1984 by George Orwell, how ironic, from Kindle devices of people who purchased it because they discovered that the person who was selling that book didn't have license to sell 1984 in the first place. So they decided just without any notification to remove that book from the device and just forget about it. There are many examples like this, and I think we should be very cautious about this new tendency. There is a wonderful video done by Jared Henderson, who is a fellow YouTuber, and he talks about the same topic, and I'll link that video in the description. What is really interesting that Jared Henderson said that essentially when you purchase a book from Amazon Kindle store, you're not purchasing the book, you don't own the book, you purchase a license to have that book indefinitely on your device until that book violates terms and conditions of Amazon, of the seller. So essentially, terms and conditions which are revised and updated regularly, if one day they'll find out that something in 1984 is politically incorrect or unpleasant or doesn't match the brand, they can easily remove it, remove the book without notification and explain it as a violation of their terms and conditions. You can't do much about it. Another thing that I would like to tell you here is that I've got this book from which I would like to read a short poem before I'll let you go. This book is from my shelf here, and I bought this book, I own this book. Nobody can take this book without my consent. I can sell this book to you. I can lend this book to you. I can't do that with ebooks. I can, unless I'll lend you my entire Kindle, for example, but I cannot lend a book that I already own. It is a different relationship, and it is very dangerous relationship that we have with the books or any of other digital content, in fact, that we buy from big corporations. And when I was building those shelves, that's what I was thinking about. I was thinking about that it's good to have books, great books. I'm trying to buy the greatest books that were ever published without any nonsense, and know that nothing will disappear from them. I think this is something that you've already thought about, and but I think we should keep attention, stay alert and vigilant to this happening. And in order not to end my comeback video on this sad and serious note, I would like to end it with a beautiful note, with a kind of a beautiful tune before we'll wrap up, and then I'll ask you a question about my library. I really need your help. So the poem that I would like to read is very short, and it comes from Horace, Roman poet, and from his odes. It's called Happy the Man. Happy the man, and happy he alone, he who can call today his own, he who secure within can say, tomorrow do your worst, for I have lived today. Be fair or fool, or rain or shine, the joys I have possessed in spite of fate are mine. Not heaven itself upon the past has power, but what has been, and I've had my hour. This poem was translated by another poet, John Dryden, in the 1600s, and I thought it's so beautiful, and especially the sentences that tomorrow do your worst, for I have lived today. It's very life-affirming. The joys I have possessed in spite of fate are mine. In spite of fate. And what has been, and I've had my hour. I thought it is such a life-affirming poetry. There are so many books to read. I have Horace's Odes on the shelf. I would really love to read them, but that's a different subject. I thought I will share this poem with you. I would like to ask you a question, and the person who will suggest the best version, the best option, the option that I will apply to those bookshelves, will get a book as a gift from me. What I want to ask you is that I'm trying to choose the color for my bookshelves. This is raw wood right now. It needs to be treated and it needs to be painted. I was suggested dark green, olive green color, but I would like to ask you if you have any suggestions for some other colors, perhaps. Other colors that kind of match what you see right now. If you know and you can give me a precise kind of name of the color of the shade, I would really be grateful. I'll obviously buy a sample, test it, and if I like it, I'll paint my entire library of the color that you suggested. And as I said, as a thank you, I'll buy you a gift of a book. I'll send you a book to you. Thank you so much to all of you who sticked with me despite of me being absent. I'm enormously grateful to all of you. I hope you are all doing well, and as I said, more videos are coming, more regular videos are coming. I'm obviously settling in, but now I have my own private space, and I would like to communicate more in here with you. So thank you once again, and I'll see you soon.